Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be checking out GigiDeLana with her band Gigi Vibes performing House of the Rising Sun. I love this artist, one of my favorite singers in the world. No exaggeration, I think she's absolutely wonderful. Yes, I still have a crush on her, and it is always my joy to analyze her singing and other musical aspects, which is what I do here on this channel. If you're new, I will be pausing primarily to talk about vocal technique, but other musical elements as well. And if you'd like to see the video all the way straight through, I'll leave a link in the description below. Otherwise, guys, please, if I'm enhancing your listening experience, consider checking out my Patreon, also in the description. And a quick shout out to the sponsor for this channel, TuneLark. If you guys are interested in any kind of virtual music lessons, whether it's composition, music production, voice lessons, anything you want, you get 50% off your first trial lesson, also in the description below. Without further ado, let's check out GigiDeLana and Gigi Vibes, House of the Rising Sun.
There is a house in New Orleans they call the Rising Sun, and it's been the ruin of many a poor boy. And God, I know I'm one.
Before the instruments come in, that usually we get the opposite. We get some kind of instrumental introduction, and then we get the voice coming in. But here we have Gigi just doing a totally a cappella solo. She was starting way down. Way down for her on a D3, which I was just demonstrating a D2, which is definitely way towards the very bottom of her chest range, and that is actually remarkably low for a female singer to get down that low. I mean, and the thing about Gigi is her voice isn't this big, cavernous, dark sound, right? She has this wicked upper range. She's got like super strong belting in her high chest range, just absolutely absurd range. So you would not expect her to be able to sing this low in her pure chest voice. And you can hear that it's the bottom, but basically what I'm saying is it's no wonder it's the bottom, and I'm actually shocked that she can sing this low.
There is a house in New Orleans.
And it's the only point in her singing, unless intentionally, where her voice gets breathy, which is often what happens when you if you relax towards the bottom of your voice, the voice will naturally get a little bit more breathy as the vocal folds just don't come together quite as efficiently. You can kind of compress them and keep the vocal fold closure strong, but you do have to kind of manufacture that a little bit. If you relax down, it eventually becomes breathy unless you're trying to get good vocal fold closure. So she's just kind of letting it happen, and these D3s are coming out.
A house in New Orleans they call the Rising Sun.
A little vocal fry, they call the rising sun. Just a little vocal fry on the end of that phrase, kind of right in the middle of it. That's what she does. She's just got style, and she'll just put a little imprint of her Gigi swag all over what she's doing by changing melody, by changing harmony, by changing the rhythm of the text. I think this is going to be an excellent version of this song.
Oh, the rising sun, and it's been the ruin
Like that.
of many a poor boy. And God, I know I'm one.
So she goes, and that was a D5 in a pure chest belt, just like out of nowhere, and beautiful, and the vocal fold closure is so strong. It's just such an efficient, pure tone, and she can do that, but she can also put a little rasp and a little grit in there when she wants to. Extremely versatile singer, Gigi, extremely versatile. But so far, I mean, we get a full 2-octave range so far in pure chest voice. That low D3 for her, all the way up to D above tenor high D, that D5.
Poor boy. And God, I know I'm one.
Yes. Shout to that guitar, that short little guitar solo. Ooh! I mean, this song is so iconic, right? And the Animals, as far as I know, were not actually the original artists, but they did make the kind of the most iconic cover that everyone now references and thinks of for this song. Yes. She's just going to be ripping D5s this whole song in pure chest voice. That is absolutely nutty. There are so few singers that can do that sustainably and comfortably. And yes, it's in that very yelly quality of the voice. So she does sound like she's hollering, but it's complete control, right? And that's the beauty in a big high chest belt, is it literally is physiologically like a yell. It's just like a very efficient, healthy, in the best cases, well breath supported yell, which is exactly, of course, what we get from Gigi. She's just absolutely obliterating these high D chest belts. All the while, when she comes down, you know, there's not one way to sing those notes in chest voice, but it's very limited how you approach something that extreme in a range. And so where we get her kind of nuance and flair, and where she'll add a vocal fry here and like a growl somewhere else, and, you know, just a different kind of tailoring of the phrase. We don't get that so much in the belting, but we get it when she descends back down into the more comfortable part of her range all throughout this verse here. Right there, yep. Now this is a decision she had to make on singing this high note. So the word is sewed. She sewed my new blue jeans, right? At least in the diction, how the original the Animals pronounced it. Now she did more of like a sue, which is probably because to sing the sewed, she would have to open it totally up. If you've noticed that about how she's singing these D5s, they have to be big, open, you know, wide and tall, kind of bite the apple sound. I use that phrase sometimes to talk about the mouth shape when you go in for like a big apple bite, like that. That's how you want to be singing these really high chest notes. And the word sewed does not work well with that. And so instead of opening up a ton, it's really hard to sing that true vowel on sewed. So she actually closes it down a little bit and keeps it really closed. It's really weird. I'm not going to go into passaggi and transitionary points in the voice, but usually if you get to one that's really tricky, you have to either open the vowel up a lot or close it down a lot. The kind of neutral position just doesn't work in the voice based on how literally how the sound waves are coming through your vocal tract. So artistic choice from her, or necessary choice for her to close that vowel down instead of saying sewed my new blue jeans, which is, you might not know what the word is at that point, right?
She sewed my new blue jeans. My father was a gambling man.
There's a little grit moan going upwards there.
A gambling man down in New Orleans. Yeah,
love when she does that kind of stuff. To me, it seems very clearly ad-libbed. Like, obviously, they rehearsed these songs a ton. Maybe she found those, yeah. But she's not doing it into the mic, right? She's just kind of doing it in her own space to add a little bit of atmosphere during this section where the lead vocals are not present or not normally present. But it just seems so natural. It seems like it's coming out of nowhere. And the first time she did it, surely it was unplanned. It's not like she sat down. She's like, okay, in this section, I'm going to do some background. Yes, it's unlikely. It's more likely she's just using her artistic intuition to add something more to that section. I can't believe she's singing this high in chest voice the whole time. So you can see how she's navigating the vowels a little bit. She did one neutral one in there, which I was actually surprised to hear, but for the most part, she's either shutting them down or opening them up a lot. That's a really well done neutral. Oh, she's keeping that neutral position more instead of doing like only or only. She's actually keeping a pretty neutral position on that D, which is quite impressive. It seems like most of the vowels she's kind of choosing to open or close down more, but that's a pretty neutral vowel there. That's a pretty true to the actual vowel. Love it, adding that stuff. And a lot of what she's doing really, and the thing about this song is that it is strophic, meaning all of it just repeats again and again and again, verse to verse to verse. The only thing changing is the text. So as a singer, you've got to introduce something new for this song not to get stale. And if I remember correctly, the Animals don't really do that. They sing the first verse down, or part of the first verse down an octave like she did. Then they go up, and it's pretty much that for the rest of the song. I believe Jeff Castellucci did a really great job of kind of keeping the solo varying a lot throughout and background harmonies and such. Jeff is very creative in that way. And so I'm interested to see what Gigi does as she goes forward to keep the song interesting, because, I mean, belting on a high D is pretty full tilt belting. It's tough to kind of go up from there in intensity. I could see her definitely adding more grit into the sound to accomplish that. What we are getting is in this little down section, it's like her kind of ad-libbed yeahs are much more intense than the previous time. But during the actual solo, I'm interested to see what she does. Everything about this song is a challenge, especially in the key she's singing it in. Play that thing. Yep. That look they gave each other at the end there is just, if you're doing like a live session, that's just like, okay, we're going to the next verse now. As opposed to if Gigi was like, if she looked at him like that, the keyboard player, that would mean, hey, you, take a solo. Or if she looked back at the drummer and was like, come on, and be like, all right, you take a solo now, and we'll just extend this thing out. Happens all the time in live performance. So they look at each other like, yes, back to the verses now. And there's just like this mutual understanding there. Again, no expert on guitar. Still have to bring George at some point on the channel to break down one of these awesome guitar solos. I play, most days I play some guitar, but I still very much consider myself a beginner. Still mainly working on chords and strumming patterns and stuff like that. The solo, the rock solo is far into my future if I ever even get there. So just want to give a big shout out to the guitarist and of course the other musicians that are a huge part of the reason why this band is so solid. Like Gigi obviously is the focal point as the lead singer, but you can't just be a lead singer without a good band. So shouts to the band. Yep.
Oh, mother, tell your children not to do what I have done.
There's that grit. Yeah.
Spend your lives in sin and misery.
Oh.
In the house of the rising sun.
All right, sick. So we did get a little bit of that grit in there. So that, of course, is introducing something new. This verse is a little different in the original cover, I'll say, because it doesn't start out on that. My iPad keeps locking. That's really lovely. Thank you. You can't see my face because it's dark. Good. Keypad. Nice. And we're back. The melody actually changes a little bit. I mean, not harmonically, but just it doesn't start on that high D in this verse. So it does give her a chance to at least do something different there.
Oh, mother, tell your children not to do what I have done.
With some truefold grit happening. The style of grit that I can't seem to manufacture with my opera training. I'm like, it's frustrating. I really want to be able to do that kind of grit. I will prevail. Gigi is a master at it. Just so good going from that super clean phonation to that gritty phonation. It's epic.
To do what I have done. Spend your lives in sin and misery.
So that's a difference. So usually it's ba 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 ba, right? But she kind of attacks the note and then stops, attacks the note and then stops, and then pulls the volume and intensity way back as she ascends down to the bottom there. So that's a nice change.
Spend your lives in sin and misery. In the house of the rising sun. I got one foot on the platform, the other foot on the train. I'm going back to New Orleans to wear that ball and chain.
It's hard to find a place to stop. Ripping it, dude. So good. Yeah, so here again, she'll sustain some of the belts and some of them she'll get off. Usually when singers do that, it's because their voices are like tiring out and they just don't want to sustain those high belts for much longer. I don't think that's the case with her. I think it's really hard to be comfortable long term singing that high, but if anyone is, I think she is singing up there pretty darn sustainably. Is it 1 foot on? And then so she gets off 1, right? She gets off that note and to not sustain that belt, of course intentionally, but of course she could have, right? This is all Everything she does is an artistic choice. Obviously a big change there. Whatever she does, she kind of does a flip up into her head voice there out of that belt. And really, there's so much going on. It's hard to hear the precision in that riff, but she jumps the octave and then riffs all the way back down. If you listen closely, you can kind of hear the notes. It's a great riff, but there's just so much action in the band happening. It's tough to hear. Now she's fully sustaining all these belts, right? She's not getting off them now. She's just ripping all the way through. I think she gets up to an F. Up to that minor third in this D minor. Above that super high. That's crazy. So she carries that chest belt all the way up to an F5. It's remarkable. Incredible. Every time. Like, when she came out of the gate verse 1 with those super high Ds, I was like, this is going to be a marathon vocally. Belting that high for like 5 minutes that takes such a strong voice. And not only a strong voice, but really solid technique and just everything well put together. Which, it's GigiDeLana. Of course she's going to nail it. Really cool. Great version. This cover was much more true to the Animals version than covers I've heard from them recently. Usually they will kind of take a song and flip it on its head a little bit, thinking like their version of Unholy, or how much she changed the vibe and the rhythm of the text and the melodies on like Fly Me to the Moon, for example. This one is much more true to the version they did, but they just did it kind of a little tougher. You know, like she put more grit in her sound than the Animals singer, if I remember correctly. I mean, he's got a pretty raw, powerful voice, but I just don't remember how much grit there actually is, or moments of grit versus not grit. But so pretty straight up cover from them, which we don't usually hear, but obviously super well done. Gigi's unreal. I love making these videos, so please leave more suggestions. Guys, consider joining my Patreon family if you enjoyed this for $1 a month. And check out TuneLark if you guys want virtual music lessons for an affordable price on literally anything. Link below, 50% off in the description. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.